book of cosmic comics, games, and collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games, and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com. And tonight we're going back to the 90s. You know, back when comics were cool, and probably a lot of you were getting into them for the first time. Not me. I was in here from the 70s. I'm old. But you young kids, you know, the ones with the money who are backing crowd projects, you're the ones we're talking to. So you're in for a treat tonight because we're going to be bringing back one of the classic men of the 90s, Mr. Hart D. Fisher. Hart, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, guys. I finally had a chance to clean up around the office a little bit. We've been working around the clock for this new buildable Omnibus Kickstarter, and I'm happy to say in day one, we're on day two, and I believe we are 85% funded.
Yeah, I can't do the math, but I can tell you that you're at $42.85 right now. I'm thinking that's what, $715 away. And I would love to see that happen within the next hour, folks. So
that'd be really cool. And one of the great things about this, anybody who backs it now, as we get into this, I've got a full-time graphic designer that came on board with me specifically for this project, specifically to do a bunch of buildable stuff. And he's a rock and roll guy, and he's been one of my photographers at American Horrors, my horror TV channel. And he's been doing really amazing graphics. So we've got some super cool vinyl stickers that are shaped like a knife and shaped like a meat cleaver. They're vinyl, so you could stick them onto something. You could peel them back off. And one of the stickers, one of the meat cleaver stickers, has got the George Perez artwork.
That will be very cool. I turned the green screen off. You talked about heat. This thing doesn't even work, but 90%, and you got to have it lit up. And the light is right on my head, and I'm like, okay, I don't need this. I can. As long as
well, I'll tell you what, brother, what you want to get is you want to get yourself some bright LED bulbs. You don't have to have mercury bulbs or regular incandescents.
That's what, this is 1,000 lumens of LED, but I need two of them to really light this thing up. And I had it aimed right at me. I wasn't bouncing it. So it was blinding my left eye and heating my head.
I'm in the American Horror Studio, and you can see the light on my side. I have an edge light. So I've got a light over here. I got a softbox on my side. I got a softbox over here to light up the background. And then I got a third softbox, but I felt it was too bright. And my green screen's like right over there, and it's a whole giant wall. And I know what you mean about getting hot in front of that.
Yeah, I've got some softboxes. Somebody else has them on the team because he made more videos than I was at the time. And then, you know, with all the quarantine and everything, he started, you know, looking for job stuff because he lost the one he had. And even if he brought them back to me right now, I'd have no place to put them. I don't have space. So I'm MacGyvering this business as best I can right now.
I feel you. That's kind of the boat I've been in for a long time. My wife passed in 2018. And she was my partner at American Horrors, and we ran the TV network together. And so during her illness with colon cancer, I was her sole caregiver, and I was trying to run like all of it and take care of her. And I destroyed myself. I ran myself from the ground. And then when she passed away, I had to take over the business on my own. And not only was I doing the American Horrors television channel, every Halloween weekend for the last 5 years, I do a film festival in downtown Lake Geneva. The American Horrors Film Festival, we're on our 5th year. Right. This year, we're still taking submissions, and we've got over 105 submissions right now. So we're still taking submissions for that. And I remember, and I just lost my mother. My mother passed away this year. And she was concerned about me getting into comics because I had so much work on my hands. But frankly, doing the reprinting is a lot easier than news stories. And we're doing reprinting first. So we're doing the buildable omnibus first. And we've got really cool variant covers. We've got really cool reward tiers. And one of the things I'm most proud of is my mother had kept the original Build a Bull comics I drew in high school. So those are one of the tiers we have, and that's called The Lost Build a Bull Volume 1.
And those have never been seen before.
Yeah, not since high school. I used to sell these in school, like since freshman year. And so only my friends in high school at Project Individual Education on the south side of Chicago would have a copy of this thing. So now it's really neat to have found the original artwork and to be bringing it back and making that one of the reward tiers.
Do you think any of those copies, other than the ones your mom kept aside, have survived over the years?
Yeah, without a doubt. A lot of my friends, the funny thing is, Build a Bull was based on one of my best friends in school. I based him on a friend of mine named Bill Parcham. And I was Bill's partner. So it was like Bill and Hart, you know, and it was much more of a superhero thing. And, you know, Wendy's, he used to wear a belt that said, "Here's the beef," from the Where's the Beef campaign. And it was way, way more superheroes. And then when I went to school and college and started publishing books in 1991, I was looking for, well, what did I want to do? Because I wrote and drew the first Boneyard books, Dark Angel. It was half Dark Angel, half Build a Bull, launched in May 1991. So it is our 30-year anniversary, folks, of Boneyard, yeah.
Well, so Build a Bull went from being superhero and became more of a horror title.
Yeah, more of an action character. I was highly influenced by Andrew Vaux, the crime writer. He did a lot of stuff with Dark Horse. Hugely influenced by him, James M. Cain. I love Frank Miller's stuff. I really like the Sin City stuff. I've been reading Mickey Spillane just like Frank did. Mickey Spillane was my father's favorite writer. Was Mickey Spillane, the creator of Mike Hammer, and the other favorite writer was Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond. So I grew up reading these books. Yeah. And that's where Build a Bull went. Plus, I got older and I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I saw a lot more violence. A lot of bad things happened in my life. And so the character got darker and darker. And then eventually, when I started publishing Build a Bull on its own under Boneyard Press in the 90s, a lot of my artists thought Build a Bull was based on me. Now, you guys can't see all the hair right now because I've been mopping my floors today. So I took a shower before I came on the air. I had a nice little shave. I wanted to look pretty for you, RJ.
Well, thank you. I did nothing at all.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm trying to sell here. Part of the product is me.
That's right. So, tell us a little bit about Bill the Bull, the character, how he became a bull, or was he always a bull?
Okay. I've never given away his origin. Like I've always had a problem. I'm a fan of the original Kirby, the original Steve Ditko, the old 60s and 70s stuff, Steranko, Paul Gulacy, Marv Wolfman's writing. I'm a huge comic nerd, and I started writing and drawing my own books when I was 5 years old. So Bill the Bull, he's a half man, half bull, alcoholic thug for hire on the streets of Chicago. Essentially, he's muscle. And kind of like Andrew Vaux Burke character, who started off as a half-assed private eye, and then really went off the deep end on the other side of the law, Bill just became a darker and darker character. He's in a supernatural milieu. We have never told his origin. I have never given away his origin, but I can say in every single Build a Bull story, there is a clue to his origin. I know how he became a bull, and once upon a time, he wasn't a bull. And Nick is his best friend. Nicholas Stone is his partner. And Bill is like a 7 foot tall, 400-pound, angry guy. One of my friends, a retailer, he goes, you know, Trike, well, what's the character from The Boys?
Billy Butcher.
Billy Butcher. Trike says Bill the Bull is like Billy Butcher, only not as polite.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And he's very much a lot like Lobo, you know, the Lobo character. I did work with Simon Bisley on the Death Dealer book for Glenn Danzig. I was the managing editor at Verotic during that time. So I know Simon. I'm a fan of Simon's work. But I was doing the Build a Bull character before there was this wild Lobo character. You know what I mean? And I just became more of an adult, and the character just went from being a kid in high school drawing it to now I'm working in the music business. I know a lot of outlaw bikers. I know a lot of cops. I've been doing martial arts. I started drinking in my 20s. My first love was raped and murdered in a motel robbery while I was making my first film in 1993. And that really changed me. It really completely changed me as a person, as a comics creator, as a writer, as an artist. And so Bill really got dark, and I had to deal with 3 different murder trials over the course of 10 years involving this case. It was a sex crime. It was a very disturbing case. And so that's part of why Bill kept getting darker and darker. And one I think the coolest things about the Omnibus is I'm going to be reprinting the epitaphs from the original books. And what are the epitaphs? Well, it's kind of like in Red Room when he's got the morgue. Well, mine was epitaphs. And so I would write an editorial. And a lot of this stuff was very much about what was going on in my life, how I felt in my life. And so Bill the Bull, I kind of became Bill the Bull, and Bill the Bull became me. And that's how people started to draw the character, you know? And he's a lot of fun, but he's also mean as, can I curse?
Yes.
He's mean as fuck. I mean, he's mean as fuck. He's mean as fuck. He's got an insane pain tolerance. He's got a crazy sense of humor. He's got 2 pit bulls as pets. These were pit bulls that he rescued from an animal experiment laboratory. So they're pit bulls on steroids for real. They're like these giant monster pit bulls. And
yeah,
he's a lot of fun.
So were you using Bill for a while there, I guess, to sort of work out these, you know, what you'd really like to do to the guys that did this? Because I know that you know, we've heard the story James O'Barr. That was how the Crow became created. Very, very similar story.
Well, I know Jim. I know Jim before the Crow became a sensation. A friend of mine, David J. Scow, he wrote the Crow film. I know Jim, and Jim and I have talked about this kind of thing, especially when I did my book, Homes for the Dead. After my girlfriend was murdered, and I'd had a lot of violence in my life up to that point. A lot of my women had been raped. It had happened several times in my life where my girlfriend had been raped. And I've been a victim of sexual violence. I've been a victim of violence. So these things all crept into the writing. They all crept into Bill the Bull. And that's the thing about Bill, is it exists in a very real world. We never deal with the fact that he's a bull. Everybody just accepts it. We don't even discuss it. You know, he's like, hey, who is he? Bill the Bull. Where is he? It's that fucking bull. So we don't really get into it. We just kind of just go for it, you know, and he just exists, and that's it. And was I working through issues? I think I was in the poetry more than in Bill the Bull. And as far as like working off what I wanted to do, the murderer, I did that in martial arts training. I really went off the deep end. I really got crazy in the 90s with weightlifting and martial arts training. And that's when I found myself at Gokor Chavicyan's Hayastan Academy and training under Gokor Chavicyan and the legendary judo Gene the Bell. That's how I got to meet and become friends with Ronda Rousey's mother, Anne Maria de Mars. That's how I was trained by killers from all over the world, by amazing martial artists. And so I put my anger and my angst into my work and into my training as a martial artist. And then I tried to let go of a lot of that anger when I met my late wife, Waka, and I got married in 2001. I know that's a lot to bite off.
Yeah, I know. So I'm glad that, you know, things lightened up there for a while. And again, it's still tragic that she passed as young as she did. I don't know what my stories would be if I were carrying that kind of a load on me all the time. How do you
work? You know what? Here's the thing. Why would I care what somebody says about me on Twitter when I've had to look at the guy that raped and murdered my woman in the face? I had to walk by him in court more than once. I mean, that's hard. That was really that was some of the hardest stuff I've ever had to do in my entire life. And then when my wife was going through colon cancer in 2017 and 2016, it beat the anger out of me. It destroyed me. It wrecked me. I was madly in love with my wife, and it just beat that anger out. And so as I come back to Boneyard, I think when people go, what's the difference, Hart? Well, I was out of my mind with rage and anger, and I was a hunted creature. I had stalkers. I had death threats. People broke into my house and robbed me because the news said I was out of town at a Fangoria convention. It was really crazy. And so that's why my stories are so visceral. And I feel that what is lacking from a lot of the modern comics, or a lot of what I see as somebody portraying themselves as outlaw comics, is the same thing that Jim O'Barr told to me about my work before I published Poems for the Dead. I gave Jim my poetry, and so Jim read it, and I said, Jim, I want your feedback as a person who's gone through this like I have. And Jim said, you know what, Hart, here's what's missing from Poems for the Dead. I don't know your murdered loved one enough. I need to know more about why you loved her so much. I need to know why she was so special. And what that means is I needed to know the emotional underpinnings to the story. I needed to know the emotional attachment that led to the destruction. Why did you love her so much? Why did this destroy you? And I feel that that's a huge thing that Jim did for me, because I thought about that and I went in and I wrote new poetry based on that angle, and it changed my stories. Like when I wrote A Taste of Cherry or co-wrote it for Danzig for Veronica 4, it's a brutal story, but it's based on stuff I know. I grew up in an abusive area of Chicago. Most of my friends were sexually abused and being physically abused by their parents or somebody in their family. That was a normal thing to me. So my violence in my stories is real because it comes from a real place, and it has an emotional underpinning. I have a problem when people glorify violence, and I do mean glorify violence, because violence, I feel, is truly ugly and reprehensible, and it's the first refuge of a fool and the last resort of a wise man. And so in Bill the Bull, a big crux to the character that relates to me that I realized is I didn't understand how self-destructive I had become, and I didn't realize how much I hated myself with the survivor's guilt of not being there for my loved ones when they needed me. So that self-hatred was definitely something that connected me to the new Bill the Bull character. And now, as we go forward, I can see a lot more clearly because I haven't read the books in years. I walked away from comics in 2004.
Well, tell us a little bit about then the project that we've got here, because we know you've got your mom did find the original Bill the Bull, so that's going to be included in here. For somebody who hasn't read Bill the Bull, or I guess, even if they have, if they were there in the 90s, and they think, oh, I'm going to get all 7 of these issues that I read, there might be, a lot more that they didn't know about. So what's going to be here?
Well, what we've got here on the Kickstarter is we've got the full Omnibus. The Omnibus, and what the Omnibus is every published Bill the Bull story. So Bill the Bull appeared in a lot of different publications. It appeared in his own series. Bill the Bull Burnt Cane was the first miniseries. There were 2 Bill the Bull stories in the back pages of Dark Angel. There were stories in a book called Crime Pays. Bill the Bull had his own miniseries called Bill the Bull One Shot, One Bourbon, One Beer. And there were 2 issues of that. So we're reprinting covers by Kyle Holtz, by George Perez. Duncan Rouleau had his first published work with Boneyard Press, and we were his first series that he did. And Duncan's gone on to be he was an amazing artist then. He's an amazing artist now. So all the stuff he did with me is going to be in this omnibus, and we're publishing a trade paperback and a hardcover. And we're doing limited editions. We're doing covers that are variant covers, and I'm really excited about it because I feel that Bill the Bull is my most underexposed character. Babylon Crush sold better. Flowers in the Razor Wire did okay for a long time. Dark Angel did pretty good. The Dahmer book sold way better. But Bill the Bull is my absolute favorite character to write, and I found that as I was working in comic books, he was everybody's favorite character to draw. So when I got John Hebert from Marvel to do a story for me, he loved it. When I got Louis Small Jr. to do stuff with us, he loved it. When I had Nelson do a cover for us, loved it. We've got the first published work by John Cassaday. I don't know if you're a fan of John's work, but John started at Boneyard Press. He started doing Bill the Bull solo stories with his partner, Nicholas Stone. So all those, if you want to see John Cassaday's first published work, it's going to be in this omnibus.
Yeah, this was an era when, a lot of the up and coming artists were getting their start. They were cutting their teeth on the indie market. They were like, hey, I've worked for, Boneyard Press, or I've worked for Aircell, and made their way into Marvel and DC after that. Cause that was the promised land, was to get to one of those 2 at the time. And now it seems like, you hear people complain about all the time too, is like out of nowhere, from the depths of Tumblr or something, comes a new artist just going straight to one of the big 2, given a #1 issue with a major character, and we know nothing about them. It's one of the changes that I've seen in the industry, looking at it from the outside. I don't know if you're more inside, so I don't know if the view is different for you, or If there's
It's different because I left comics. Like I left a long time ago, and I left in 2004, and I finished my first film, The Garbage Man, which is available now. You can watch it at boneyardpress2020.com as video on demand. Or if you're lucky enough to catch it on my TV channel is free. It's a linear streaming horror culture channel that's on all day, all night. You can watch it on Roku. You can watch it at boneyardpress2020.com. We're supporting the Kickstarter with commercials on there. I did a whole interview with the Gorecast guys. We've got a mini documentary about my life that's about an hour long that's going to appear on the network to help support this campaign. And I'm going to be doing another shirt giveaway. Like on our first day, we did our Boneyard Press 30-year anniversary shirt giveaway. I left the industry, but I've been talking to everybody. I've been calling people up. I've been on the phone with Billy Tucci, Deborah Tucci, Dan Fraga. I've been talking to Ethan Van Sciver on online. I've been reaching out to a lot of people I know. Buzz is one of the earliest people from Vampirella. Buzz, he really was pushing me to do this. And I like the freedom of it. I think the industry has changed an incredible amount. I'm a little sad to see the over-reliance on computer coloring to make up for a lack of storytelling ability. I'm seeing a lot of amazing covers, like these most beautiful covers. Oh my God, the covers are so good. But you get into the story and a lot of it's bad. You know, a lot of it's bad. And it's tough to figure out, what do I want to get? Because for myself, there is a lot of cool art, and I'm seeing a lot of really amazing art out there. And I got to say, I really like Dan Fraga's new stuff. Looks fantastic. His new art looks so good. Same with Cyberfrog. I was not the hugest Cyberfrog guy, but I got to admit, I like this new stuff, and his toys look fantastic. They remind me of Micronauts.
Yeah, they really do. And you know, he's I want to say he's like pioneering new avenues for the crowdfunding thing, because you know he is getting the shirts, the caps, the toys, and everything else. And I guess he can get away with that because of who he is, force of his personality. I'd like to see a few more comic books come out first, but that's just me.
Well, my plan is to do reprints. Like, since it's our 30-year anniversary, to reintroduce our core characters. We're doing Bill the Bull. We're going to do Dark Angel. We're going to do Babylon Crush. We're going to do the Big Book of Dahmer. I'm going to reprint the Dahmer books. We're going to do, and then we're going to get into new stuff. We're going to get into new stuff like Dan. I can say that Dan has said, hey, I'm interested in doing a 5-page Bill the Bull story. I've got Joseph Michael Linsner. Joe and I go way, way back, and Joe's on board for some pinups or some covers. And hey, Joe, if you're out there, hope you're doing well, buddy. I haven't talked to Joe in a while. I've got so many relationships and friends in the business. It's been a lot of fun to reach out to them and say, hey, man, and I'm a lot more stable. I mean, I was pretty angry back then. I was a very angry guy, and I've calmed down a lot. Maybe it's because I'm 52 years old now. I don't know. I've been through a lot, and I'm living in the Midwest, and I like it here. I like being back in my stomping ground. I like being in Lake Geneva, and the Lake Geneva community has really taken me in, and they've really been supportive of what I'm doing. And I've met so many amazing creators here. There's so many talented people in Wisconsin, and I'm happy to be working with them all on this new Kickstarter. And like my TV crew for American Horrors, half of my crew are women, and they're young. They're all in their 20s, and they're blowing me away with their talent and their ability to like knuckle down and do a good job. I'm really in a good place. I'm in a lot of ways, except for losing my mother and my wife and one of my best friends in October last year. It's a pretty good life, and I'm really excited to be doing this, like doing the t-shirt, doing the 30-year anniversary shirt, being able to give that away as a reward to everybody who backed us on our first day. I'm having fun doing the graphics. I'm having fun figuring out what's going to be the alternative cover, and I've been having fun designing the vinyl stickers and the buttons. We got a lot of cool buttons, and we're working on some other reward tiers that are really interesting. I'm not sure if I want to give it away. You know, one of the things we're talking about, I have a friend who is working with a lot of 3D printing. So we're discussing the idea of creating some replicas of some of the props from the Buildable comics as like limited edition tiers. We got limited edition signed books on here. We have signed prints. We're going to be doing posters, lots of t-shirts. The t-shirt tier with the Kyle Hote shirt. We did a Kyle Hote shirt back in the day in the 90s. So what we're doing is we're reprinting the vintage shirts, the Nelson cover from One Shot, One Bourbon, One Beer, number 2 is one of these shirts. We're doing the anniversary shirt. And I'll go ahead and say it, RJ. Later on this week, we're going to have another day with a different anniversary shirt design. And we're going to also make that available to every physical backer. You know, I'm feeling really good. I'm shocked that everybody's welcomed me back. I had so much controversy. I'm blown away at the love. I'm blown away at all the love I'm getting.
Oh, yeah. At one point in the 90s, you were referred to as the devil of all the comic book saints, just because of, you know, the whole Dahmer book controversy that was out there. And you had the pretty much the most horrific horror. You were like the EC of the era. Because,
and you know what's cool, guys? On Monday of last week, 1 week ago today, I was on the phone with William M. Gaines' daughter, and I was discussing a property from EC Comics to work with me over at American Horrors. I can't name it, but I was lucky enough to sit there and have a big meeting with the descendants of William M. Gaines. I'm a huge EC fan. I'm a huge fan of Mad Magazine. So it was a real honor, and I feel really good about that. I feel good about so many of my relationships in the industry, because now that we have this internet age, now that we have this easy ability to reach out to each other, it's been really cool to reconnect with everybody and to get back in touch with everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You're in the industry now at I think a pivotal time, because I think there's going to be a lot of indie markets that break out and become huge. Like Mike is saying here, the way business is going with Marvel and DC, they're not going to be the premier companies for too much longer.
No, they're not. They're not. And in fact, I'm here to say, I'm coming for you, Marvel. I've beat you before many times. I'll beat you again. I'm coming for your market share. You're lazy. You're lazy. You're a bully. You beat up on people. You pick up on people. Just like your parent corporation, Disney, who hires child molesters, who seems to love hiring child molesters. That's Disney's thing. But I'm different, and I'm here for creativity. I'm here for audience satisfaction, and I'm here to create products that people can afford. So this is the beginning. We have a whole plan. I've been working with Gary Guzzo. If that's a name that's not familiar to you, people in the industry know who Gary is. And Gary and I have been working for about 3 years on alternative distribution outside the industry to grow the industry. Marvel has stopped caring about growing the industry. They only care about raping the industry. They don't care about retailers. They do not care about the fans, nor does DC. The way they did their top 50 thing, and they dumped all those years of continuity, dumped all those fans, and just said, we don't care about your years of investment with our characters. But that's another rant. I love my characters. I'm the creator. I'm here and I work with creator-owned characters. And I could tell you there's more lifeblood at Boneyard Press. We have more juice. We have more love. We have more hate. We have more violence. We have more happiness. We have more friendship. And I think that's what you could really see. And you could see it by all my old creators that are coming back, like Joe Janofsky, and Duncan Rouleau's been very supportive, and Frank Forte and Jason Moore and Bill Nichols. There's just this litany of people I've worked with. And part of it is I have an eye for talent. And I'm known for that in the business. My Chemical Romance lead singer, Gerard Way, he was working for me when he was 15 years. Oh, he was 15. Billie Eilish, working for me when she's like 8.
Oh, geez. There's child labor laws. You know that, right?
Well, her parents were there, and it was a music video and another shoot for, we actually shot in Billie's childhood home. They grew up next door to me in Los Angeles. So we actually shot the opening credits in Billie Eilish's backyard as a little girl with her girlfriends. And so her parents were there, he was there. I'm a professional. So when you're working with child actors, you're limited in what you could do, how many hours you could work. And her parents were both professional actors. And I want to say to Patrick, if you hear this, thank you so much, because Patrick stayed really late for us one time on a music video shoot for Hollow by the band Heard the Humans. And he's like, oh, if it was Maggie, we would have left. She would have been gone 2 hours ago. It's like, thank you, Patrick. That's Billie's dad.
Yeah. And you're right though about the industry being bullies. I mean, Mike Walters talking about, Dan Slott was known last week. Well, he's known all the time, but specifically last week he was bullying somebody on Twitter to take tweets down, and the guy was backing him up on his side, and Dan's like still taking down. And the checklist you go down, I don't know whether you ascribe or not, and I don't, you probably do or don't want to. It's a personal decision. But Eric Kent basically says you're the original version of what's known as Comicsgate right now. So.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. What I know is I'm a guy who is a straight A student, who was the captain of the swim team sophomore year of high school, who was in the honor roll society, who went to a school called Project Individual Education, who took care of his mom, who was a Boy Scout, who was a good kid. You get what I mean? Who didn't drink, didn't do drugs. But the media portrayed me as a thug, as an uneducated, Satan-worshiping idiot, and they lied about me. What I would say is I'm the original fake news guy. They fake newsed me. They lied about me. They distorted the truth about me. CNN, they did a thing. I was on a documentary called Murder by Numbers. And in this documentary, I thought the film crew was really intelligent. I thought they were really good. But what they did is, in the editing process, they would cut it so that the answer to one question now became the answer to a different question, and that's deceitful. That's very deceitful. And they fake news the hell out of me. They lied about the Dahmer book. They lied about me. They caused all kinds of trouble for my personal life. My mother couldn't tell people who her son was. My mother worked for the Department of Public Aid in Chicago. My mom was the welfare lady. My mom was a really good person. And because of the mass media, because of CNN, because of these sons of bitches, my mom couldn't tell people who her son was at work. It caused a lot of problems for a lot of people in my personal life. It caused problems for me in my business life because they flat out lied about it. And that's my problem with them. None of my thing was about politics or anything. I really got thrown under the bus really bad. And I realized when that happened that you had to be true to yourself. If you were trying to be a virtue signaler, if you're trying to be, hey, look at me, I'm Mr. Good Guy. I got a white hat on, I got a white hat. Well, that white hat's really easy to fill up with mud and shit. And so you need to be focused on your own truth. And that's what I'm focused on, is my truth. And I stand up for the books that I want to read. These are books I want to read. And I'm proud of the work my people did. I am proud of every book my people put out. Well, except for the Tracy Lords book. That one's embarrassing. That one's not very good. That one sucks. Sorry about that. That one's not a good book. That's
yeah. I was in college and I saw that movie, and I didn't know at the time, like everybody else didn't know at the time. But it's in my head now. So yeah. This cancel culture is nothing new, because you'd encountered it 20 years before people started talking about it being a thing.
Well, it happened. It happened to me. I'm a victim of cancel culture in the 90s. It happened to me with Boneyard Press. Okay, I had gotten so much notoriety that when I did the book Babylon Crush, we decided there was a thing called the Bad Girl craze. And I already done the Dark Angel Razor crossover. We did the first horror crossover, intercompany horror crossover that never happened before. It was me and Everett from London Night Studios. We did it first. And I'd like to see that go in the record books. Thank you. And so I saw Lady Death. I worked with Brian Polito. I was a writer for Chaos. You know, I wrote Homicide. I wrote Evil Ernie. I knew Stephen Hughes. I knew all the guys. We all knew each other. We were all friends. You know, we'd all hang out. You could find pictures of me and Fran and my brother and Brian all smoking cigars together. So at a certain point, all this lying and exaggeration, it became a point, especially after the Planet Comics bust, where stores would either carry Boneyard or they wouldn't. And Babylon Crush was meant to be a regular, all audiences book at first. And when we first did the series, there was no nudity, there was no adult situations. It's the first out lesbian hero. I'm not aware of there being any other out lesbian hero with the girlfriend and working with a bunch of crazy bull dykes, going after male crooks before this book. And it was based on real dominatrixes that I knew in Los Angeles, Varla Vortex and the Duchess de Sade. Barbara's no longer with us, but wherever you're at, Barbara, rest in peace. And so this was based on real stuff, but it was regular audiences with an edge. And I found out that stores were stocking it in the adult section. And that's wrong, but they did it because it was Boneyard. And that hurt my sales. It hurt me.
Well, we do have one piece of good news here. We've come to a moment in our show that I love having to happen here. You'll see that the ticker has gone up to 4305 from the 4285 we were at before. So
nice.
When we have somebody back during the show, we claim credit for it because it happened while we were talking. And this is what we call our shake and bake moment.
It's shake and bake, and I help.
Because somebody in the crew helped.
That was awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you guys so much for contributing. I want all these contributions. I'm excited to do this. I'm really thrilled about it because when you deal with distribution, when you deal like, let's say, I used to deal with 13 different distributors. And on the one hand, that was great. But on the other hand, if you wanted to get your artwork seen by everybody, you had to take an ad out in their catalog, and that would only be seen by store owners. And most of the time, the consumers couldn't see that, and then you had to spend a lot of money. Like a full-page ad for Diamond distribution in the 90s, that's like $1,500 just to put a one-page piece in their catalog. And then you had to be careful. You know, this whole thing with the different rules, like I read Kickstarter's rules. I'm fine with their rules. I understand. And so I went through and I can play by the rules. You know, I'm an adult. I'm a professional. And so I read all their stuff, and it reminded me a lot of taking an ad out in Diamond. You know, Diamond had the same thing. Capital, there was things you couldn't show. Violence you couldn't show. Subject matter that they were trying to avoid. And that's the same. That's not necessarily cancel culture. That's just kind of part of our puritanical society.
Yeah, if the rules are known up front, that's fine.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna ask my buddy here. Hey, Trike, could you get me a Joe Boo needs a refill. Pretty please. I need 2 shots of Jack Daniels and some soda pop. Fill it with ice. Pretty please, Trike. Joe Boo needs a refill.
Why are you channeling Max?
No, that's the dude from Major League. Sorry. Now I'm sounding like Max DeVille.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're going to sound like Max, you got to you got to work on a little bit more.
That's true, but he's normally smoking a lot more when he's on camera. He gets more nervous. He doesn't say it, but I've noticed. Me and Max are friends, and we spent a lot of time together. I've spent time at his house. He spent time at my house. And so my joke is that Max DeVille sounds like Hank Hill if Hank Hill had murdered some people.
yeah. Max comes on our open mic nights pretty frequently every Sunday night. So we're always glad to see Mike and Max and oh
God,
Mary Machine
RJ, I shot this thing. Oh my God, I got to tell the audience, I did like this podcast thing with Gorecast, and I made the mistake of I missed my dinner, so I was drinking on an empty stomach, and I didn't get to eat before I went on the air. And I kept drinking on the air. And so, oh my God. Oh, it's so embarrassing. There's all, oh, Max DeVille is fantastic. Oh, Max is great. I love that guy. Me and Max, that's me. Oh, so good. Oh, yeah. I love that guy, Max DeVille. Let me tell you about Max. I love that guy. Oh God. I was watching this on American Horrors last night, and I'm just going, oh, when will it end? When will it end? Oh, God, please, cut.
A little public intoxication while in your house.
Yeah, and I'm sitting in my living room watching my TV channel, and it's Gorecast, and I'm just like, you sons of bitches should have cut. You should have cut. You're killing me. But I think, well, they're Irish, so I think they're used to dealing with drunk dumbasses. Thank you, Trike.
That's when the show gets good.
Well, that's what Trike says. That's what my buddy Trike is, the manager of the comic book shop in downtown Lake Geneva, Comic Alley. And Trike's one of my buddies and hangs out with me. He's one of the guys that does a lot of stuff with me on American Horrors. He's also one of my actors. So, I have a very creative life, and it's really cool to come back to comics out of the notion of creativity, the notion of I miss these characters. I miss spending time with these characters. And I think audiences today are going to really like them because one of the things I'm hearing about my TV channel, American Horrors, I'm hearing it from people all over the world. They're going, man, this is really liberating is the word I'm hearing. It's liberating. And Boneyard Press is unfettered. It is uncensored. There's none of that, uh-oh, I can't use that word. I might get into trouble. Uh-oh, I can't talk about this person with this pronoun. I might get into trouble. And it's just straight up awesome storytelling, rock solid characters, tons of action, humor, and audacity. There's one killer story in there where Bill the Bull is rear-ended by a couple of yuppie assholes, and they try to run away from him. So he chases them down, and I'll say it, at gunpoint, he makes them rape each other. And the story's called Lubricant. Oh my God. That's written by Bill Yukich. There's a lot of like over the edge storytelling, and it's a lot of it's done tongue in cheek, but there are people that go, oh my God, how could you write about this? Oh my God, how could he do this? Well, it's a character, it's a book, and the idea is an anti-hero is known as your protagonist. So sometimes Bill the Bull, and this is a real mark of the Boneyard Press oeuvre, is the protagonists in your average Boneyard Press book are transgressive. They are protagonists. I wouldn't call them a hero. They're anti-heroes in the truest sense of the word. And so sometimes they're going to do the right thing, and other times they're going to do the wrong thing. And they might do the wrong thing in a spectacular way, or they might do the right thing in a spectacular way. They're flawed moral characters. They're flawed. That's what makes them sparkle. The diamond, what makes a diamond special? Its flaws, right?
That's where the light twinkles when it gets through it. Otherwise, it'd just be clear.
Yeah, totally.
So this is gonna be 325 pages. That's a brick.
It's a brick, and not only that, guess what? It's going to be more than that. I found out it's going to be more than 325 pages. And one of the cool things we just added to it that's going to be new, guys, there's going to be new stuff in here. I don't know if you're familiar with the artist Mark Bloodworth. Mark, I remember I first discovered Mark as a fan from Caliber Comics. I don't know if it was Caliber Press or Caliber Comics. Gary Reed was the publisher. I was a big fan of Caliber, big fan of Vincent Locke and Dead World. Vincent Locke is going to do work with us, by the way. He's an old friend.
Wow. You guys are just building up again.
Oh, yeah. Rick Veitch is on board to do work with us. Stephen Buckle's on board to do work with us. I've been calling up everybody. I've got a lot of names I can't like drop because we're waiting to find out if they sign again with DC or if they sign again with Marvel. But everybody wants to work with me again. It's really, really cool. So
Rick Veitch's Brat Pack is still the seminal editorial on the entire commercialization of the mainstream comics.
That and Max Immortal, and also I would say The One.
Yeah.
And I'll take it further back. I'll go back to Abracus the Earthman from Epic Illustrated. That was Rick Veitch, and that was some amazing stuff from that guy. I think it's Rick. I'm pretty sure Rick did Abracus the Earthman. Hobbit, did he?
Yes.
Okay, he did. All right.
That was trippy.
I know so he did that Swamp Thing book that they wouldn't publish because they had a television
with
series
Jesus
that they knew was going to take off. And the television series sucked, and we didn't get to read the Swamp Thing crucifixion story, Morning of the Magician.
These guys are all people that I've worked with before. I did a story with Rick and Tom Yeats for Nightmare Theater at Chaos. I was very proud of that. I wrote a children's story in that, the Vampire Hunters Club, and I'm having a lot of fun talking to everybody. And so, okay, I mentioned something new for the Omnibus. We just made this happen over the weekend. Mark Bloodworth, who did work on Dead World also, I can't remember his main thing that he did with this lion cat character that he started with, but Mark has been doing these really neat on his own just for fun. He's been drawing like those old school comic ad pages, X-ray specs so you can see through their clothes. Charles Atlas, are tired of having sand kicked in your face, little fella? So he's been doing his own classic pulp comic ads, right? So Mark has agreed to allow me to print these in the Bill the Bull Omnibus. You're hearing this first on RJ's show.
That's going to be it's going to give it such a classic comic book feel.
That's the point.
I can't wait to get my hands on this one. This is gonna be fun. It's gonna be full. I almost said fulfilling in 19 days. It's gonna be completed in 19 days. And
Yep.
you know, just 695 to go to get there now, folks.
Yeah.
Now,
And I'm going to be adding cool stretch goals. We got a lot of really neat stuff in the background here. Unlike a lot of folks, I'm used to making physical products. So I've been publishing comic books on my own since a child. Professionally, I've been publishing books since 1991. A lot of people don't know William over at Avatar, William Christensen.
yes.
Will's an old friend of mine. It was Will's idea for me to do the Dahmer versus Christ book. Only William wanted me to have Dahmer nailing Christ to the cross. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Not doing that, bro. But William and I are old friends. And so I have friends like Digger T. Mesh from Asylum Studios. And I have a lot of friends involved in replication and creating products. And I am too. I worked in advertising. I did package design in the 90s. Like when I left comics, a lot of people don't know I was a professional graphic designer, and I worked in the advertising industry, and I worked doing box design, meaning packaging, you know, like for a company called Cryogel that was kind of like a hot thing, like a cold to leave. I did a lot of work with martial arts people doing design work. So coming back into this, I've got this whole breadth of experience that I bring to the comic industry. And for me, publishing the comic book is the easiest part. Doing the comic is the easiest part. Doing the poker chips, that's something that, actually, I got to say to Max, thank you. That's one of the things we're looking to do with Build a Bull. I think it fits right in. So we're putting together some a reward tier. We're putting together a backer thing with poker chips, Build a Bull poker chips, because he's a hard drinking, card playing, leg breaking, werewolf killing, Wendy's eating, you know what I mean, kind of guy.
Yeah, and poker chips are easy to make. I mean, the easy things are cheap to add to your campaign, and people love them. Like you can get,
I'm looking to make a good product. Like, okay, these stickers, I'm going with vinyl stickers so that they last a long time. They're something that we did it for Boneyard American Horrors first. So I did with American Horrors, and man, these stickers last for years, guys. I got a buddy of mine who's got one of these American Horror sticker that's been on the bumper of his car. I shit you not, for 3 years it's been on his car bumper, and you can't tell. It looks fantastic. I got one on my mailbox, and I live in Wisconsin, okay, where it gets really damn cold and it gets really hot. It rains a lot. There's a lot of wind and stuff. So these stickers are really cool, and I'm having a lot of fun designing them, and the buttons are cool. I'm going to make sure these poker chips are cool. Max and I were talking about this over the weekend, and he has a company for me to go to, and he says they're really good chips. They got some weight to them, you know, because I want to make good products. I don't want to, guys, this isn't a cash-in. This is a love affair. This is a mad love affair. I'm in love with this, and I'm so happy to come back. This is really exciting and invigorating to be able to reach out to fans directly, to be able to show them the artwork directly, to have a website up, boneyardpress2020.com. This is awesome. I mean, this is a fantastic time to be making comics.
So with American Horror, that's all original stuff that you're putting on there, or are you licensing other things, or a mix?
Okay, so for the American Horrors television channel and the American Horrors products division, we do all the above. We license products from companies, we license films, we license TV shows, and we also produce our own independent program. I produced the true crime series called True Crimes with Burl Barr and Don Waldman. I produced the original American Horrors TV show that we started in 2008. And I have been signing up shows like we had Groovy TV, which I'm a partner in. That's an original anthology show on American Horrors. We've been trying to put together the Flowers and the Razor Wire anthology show, and I think we're getting some more traction now. I bring in a lot of stuff from the film festival. The film festival gives me an ability to go out and talent scout all the new guys, all the best of the best. And that's really cool. We've got a series in production right now called Mafia Exorcist that we're looking to do as a comic book series with Spencer Lee. It's a wonderful time, and it's really great to talk to Billy and Deborah and see what they've been able to do with She. I've always had a lot of respect for Bill and his wife Debbie. I've always really liked what he did with the character. A lot of people try to lump she in as a bad girl, but she has never been a bad girl character. And my wife was Japanese from Japan, so I think I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, she wasn't a bad girl. She was a badass girl, but she wasn't like your traditional.
That's right. That's right. She wasn't a bad girl. Now, Babylon Crush, that's a bad woman. That is a bad woman. Babylon Crush is a dominatrix who fights crime because she hates men, hates them with a passion. And she can't hurt them enough in the dojo. She wants an unwilling victim. That's Babylon Crush.
There you go. The reason I was asking about what you do with the TV channel is I was leading into, have you ever considered doing a series of live action Build-A-Bull movies? Because you have an
We have. There's an actor named Ron Carai. Hey, Ron, if you see this, I know I haven't been able to get you on the phone for a while, but I've been pretty damn busy. Ron was a bodyguard to one of the main actors on Sons of Anarchy, and Ron's an ex-con and a biker guy. And so in the 90s, not in the 90s, in the 2000s, right around the time that I first signed the deal to create the American Horrors TV show, we were looking to do a live action movie with Ron playing Build-A-Bull. But to be honest with you, I'm more akin to animation right now. We have one of the projects, we have a couple animation cells that were done. I was flown to Japan in 2002. Yeah, it was 2002. I was flown to Japan, to Tokyo, to give a lecture on team building and leadership to a couple of companies out there. And I gave a lecture on American poetry and did a performance for a college, a community college in Tokyo. And I also met with a lot of anime studios in Tokyo because I felt Build-A-Bull would be fantastic with an American attitude, my writing, my attitude, but anime. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I'm developing Build-A-Bull as a video game. One of the things I've been talking to my friends about with Build-A-Bull is about a side scroller. I want to do Build-A-Bull as a straight up Sega Genesis side scroller, simple, fun, but more attitude. And we've been trying to figure out how to do that. So this Kickstarter is the launching point to a lot of really cool projects that I'm excited to do, and I think fans are going to really like it.
I can already see him doing one of his special moves, AAB, and he bends over, runs his feet, and charges into the bad guys.
Oh, we're talking about one of the things we were talking about is, okay, you know how like the side scroller, there's like stuff you got to jump or stuff you got to smash, stuff you got to shoot. Well, some of the stuff, if Bill gets hit with it, we're thinking kegs of beer. We're thinking kegs of beer, and he has to jump over a keg of beer. And if he gets hit by the keg, he has to drink it. And as he keeps drinking these kegs of beer, his tummy gets bigger and bigger. And if he doesn't get a chance to stop and pee, he explodes.
That's Boneyard right there.
Yeah, that's Boneyard Press right there. And it's fun. It's irreverent. It's cheeky without being like horrible. It's not like he's, I don't know, ripping apart children or anything.
Yeah, leave that to the other characters in here.
That piece of art right there is Louis Small Jr. And if you scroll back down, one of the things I'm proud about is I've been very uncertain about what I could show on Build-A-Bull or what I could show on Kickstarter. So I made a point to airbrush out his middle finger. So I didn't have him flipping anybody off in the Kickstarter.
Yeah, don't anger the Kickstarter people. They will shunt you right out the door.
You know, guys, it's a business. Diamond Distribution, Capital, like this is simple, guys. This is business. And so when you're dealing with the distributor, when you're dealing with the store owner, you're playing by their rules, and you just got to understand that. I mean, that's just part of being a professional, and I am a professional.
So this is something I hadn't read yet. Once you get to 50 backers, which have you got that high yet?
No, where are we now? We're 37. At like what, 37 backers?
Okay, yeah, 37 backers. So 13 more backers, and everybody who's a physical product backer is going to get a random issue from the Boneyard catalog backstock. Not
only that, but it's going to be the original printings, guys. I've got a bunch of the original Dark Angel Build-A-Bull comics from 1991 that are second prints. So those are going to be in there at random. We've got some Crime Pays issues. These are the original printings. These are the original books from the 90s. These aren't reprints. So if we hit 50 backers, and I damn well know we will, every backer of physical product will get this reward. They're going to get a random book. It could be Flowers in the Razor Wire. It could be Crime Pays. It could be Dark Angel. It could be the Dark Angel Razor crossover. It could be 5 Years of Pain, which is our only pinup book that was color. I've got a lot of cool stuff. Our catalog is strong. And before we did the Kickstarter, I went to my warehouse to make sure I had the books, and I got them. And I'm going to put in a couple of Gerard Way's books too. So guys, not am I going to salt and pepper this stuff with my stuff. I'm going to put in some of Gary Way, On Raven's Wings #2. I'm going to put them in there.
This is a back issue collector's dream, folks. If you were there in the 90s and you remember, if you remember Wizard magazine telling you what a bad boy Hart D. Fisher was, which did nothing more than make you want to get his books even more, then this is the thing for you. Now you got this T-shirt here. I've been kind of going back and forth over it, and you've talked about the 30-year anniversary T-shirt. This is a tier. This is an add-on on the tier, right? There's.
So essentially, this shirt that you're looking at right now on your screen was the giveaway on our first day. So everybody that was a physical backer on day one, the first 24 hours, they're going to get this shirt in red. But I'm going to tell you guys, I've got another anniversary shirt, and in a few days, I'm going to make that the giveaway shirt for 24 hours. And that shirt's black.
Who did the design on this one?
Well, that's me.
So you drew the screaming baby with the. That is a screaming baby, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it was.
Can we see? Let me find the camera. See the arm, the tattoo.
I see the arm.
Change the here. I'm going to change this.
Oh, well, there
see
it is.
See the tattoo?
Yes.
That's from 1992. I traded a 357 Ruger GP revolver for that tattoo. And it was done by a buddy of mine who was tattooing for a gang in Illinois called the Sons of Silence. Motorcycle gang.
Oh, man. You have lived a dangerous and violent life, sir.
Well, something that Brian sent one of his guys out to go under my wing in LA. A guy named Luca Fisher, and he was Luke Fisher then. And Brian called me up and said, hey, this is one of my main guys. He's a guy that's a really cool kid. Take him under your wing, Hart. Take him under your wing in LA. And I said to Luke, Luke, what did Brian tell you about me? And Luke said, he said to be careful because I know very serious people. And that is the truth. When I sued Marvel Comics and won, it was over copyright and trademark infringement over my character, Dark Angel. And who helped me? The Hell's Angel motorcycle gang. That's who helped me. So am I a serious person? No serious people? Figure it out for your fucking self.
Yeah. But you didn't go after James Cameron?
No, my feeling about the Dark Angel TV show, even though I could prove confusion in the marketplace, my feeling was the amount of money I was going to have to spend wasn't worth it. I felt that show was going to disappear after 1 or 2 seasons, and I was right.
You were right. It took 2 seasons.
I'm still here.
I got both on DVD. I hadn't even seen the second season yet.
I only saw the first one, and I understood what was going on, and I mean, it's been a crazy life. I know a ton of 1%ers. I know a lot of criminals and gangbangers. I know serial killers. We published work by Richard Ramirez. I spent an evening in a hotel room with John Wayne Gacy's best friend talking about survivor's guilt. I've hung out with survivors of the Columbine Massacre. I'm not your normal guy. I mean, I spent a lot of time with Danzig, a lot of time with Doyle from the Misfits. I've worked with Obituary. I mean, I've worked with a lot of insane people. Dark Funeral from Europe. They're a death metal band. Not a death metal, but a satanic metal band, black metal that sings their songs in Latin. Some of their followers have killed people. Well, we did a really cool thing with them called the Witches' Sabbath. So I have worked with a lot of extreme people, but I'm an extreme person. You guys are getting to meet the nicest version of me. This is the nicest version of Hart Fisher that's ever existed.
Well, we are glad to have met you and have had you on our show, sir. And we can't wait to get Bill the Bull in our hands. This is going to be coming out quickly. You've got a November delivery date on this. this is the end of August, so that's 2 months, and 1 month of that is going to be funding. So,
well, not even 1 month. It's 19 days. So get off your ass, people. Get in there and contribute. Get off your ass.
Get it now.
19 days. 19 days. You gotta get in there. 19 days. But
get 2 of them. So
it's exciting. I think people should get more than one copy of these books. I think they're total collectibles. I think you're going to be happy. So many people's first published work. And they're really fun to read. And I think that's a key thing, is that the people are going to be surprised how much fun they have reading these books. And at the end of the day, is that what it's about? It's about having a good time. It's about enjoying the comics you're reading. Because for me, New Comic Day was the day I'd come home from the store and I got my cold Pepsi or cold lemonade and I'm parked on the couch and I'm like, no one's going to come near me. And I got my stack of books. And then, I don't know about you, but I would organize them over what I wanted to read first.
Oh, yeah. And I always save the best ones on the bottom. It's like, I don't really care about this one so much, so let's get this one out of the way. But for me, it was like, 86, 87, I'm in college. So, the new Teen Titans, the Crisis stuff, that was all going to go on the bottom. Save that for last because I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Watchmen was always the last one to be read and would reread twice when it was fresh. So yeah.
In those days, for me, it was Star Slayer, Grim Jack, Epic Illustrated, Heavy Metal Magazine. I really liked a lot of what First Comics put out. I'm a huge comic fan. I mean, that's why I say I can come in here and okay. So we talked about Max. So guys, you want to support this just so that we could go from here to the new stuff that Max is writing. Max is writing new Bill the Bull stories.
Okay, so let's fund it, folks. You heard the man. The link to the Kickstarter is in the video description below. And because you, the viewers, demanded it, I am now pinning the links to these Kickstarters and Indiegogos at the very top of the chat. So you don't have to, scroll a half an inch and click on the link. It'll be right there in front of you. We understand it's easier for you that way. So click on it, give money to it, get a book back in November. Hart, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. It's great to talk to you, RJ. It's really cool to be around people that love comics this much.
Yeah, and they're getting to be fewer of them, and none of them are running the big 2. So, and that's my editorial aside. Folks in the chat, thank you so much for showing up tonight. We don't have a show without you. And as always, we just hope you had